Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning for everywhere in the world you are. We are very pleased to launch this keynote from Jeff Teper, the Modern Workplace Conference Paris keynote by Jeff Teper. So today it was the second day of Modern Workplace 21 in Paris, but everywhere in the world if you can join an internet connection, of course. So we are very pleased to have a great day with a lot of great session today with a lot of great speakers. I want to thank first all our speakers, and a lot of them can be seen on this site, if not all. I think they are all there. But I'm sure they all are very happy and very pleased to share their knowledge and their passion on this event. So thanks a lot to all of them. Now we are at the time of Jeff Teper Keynote. I will launch it in a few seconds. And just after this keynote, feel free to launch in the Teams meeting of the event for an informal closing apéro with a raffle, and we will speak, we will answer any question you can have about what was your feeling about these days and things like that. About the raffle, you will be able to win some Jabra stuff and to improve your Teams meeting, of course, and you will able to win some Surface Go and Surface Laptop Go. So connect and join. The only you need to be connected and to be there, to be present to win. If you can't win, if you are just subscribed, registered, but not present. So be there at the apéro after the keynote. We wanted to thank all our amazing sponsors like Exakis Martello, Jalios, Avanadazeo, Powell Software, Aero, BitTitan, and Microsoft, of course. In this keynote, once again, we will have a great Microsoft speaker. It's not only the father of SharePoint, as Jeff Teper is well known as a father of SharePoint, but nowadays it's as well leading the development team. So the teams who are developing the Teams product and several other products like OneDrive and Yammer and things like that. So we think it will be very interesting to have Jeff Teper join us. But to wait a few seconds, I wanted to show you first a space, 3D space we have created for the event. So this is another amazing stuff you can create nowadays in SharePoint. This is what they call SharePoint spaces. And for the event, we have created a space where you can see all the session and all the video explaining what all the sessions are about. And here you can see our virtual lunch, virtual event, and virtual booth for demoing and showcasing our sponsors. And that's it for a very quick demo of SharePoint Spaces. So now I think it's the time to have a speak from Mr. Jeff Teper.
Hi there, Jeff Teper from Microsoft, and I am thrilled to welcome you to the Modern Workplace Conference, Paris. It's such a great chance to be a part of this amazing event and community. I've known Patrick for many years. In fact, 5 years ago, when we were announcing a big reveal of some new SharePoint capabilities, one of the events I was most excited to attend was the SharePoint Saturday event that he hosted in Paris. And I very much look forward to being with all of you in person in the future. But I'm excited to be here virtually. For those of you who don't know, I lead the Teams team and the OneDrive and SharePoint team, the core collaboration capabilities in Microsoft 365. And I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update on our roadmap, especially given all the changes in the world with COVID. So first, please don't forget to thank the people who organized this event, who are speaking. They've given a lot of hard work and time and care into the talks, and it is really amazing, even though we're not in person, what has always been a great event from the team to see the outstanding agenda and content. The world's moving faster than ever, and getting an understanding of our latest roadmap, the best practices, case studies, is really important for all of you to be able to do your jobs, to grow your careers, and to help your companies. So thank you so much, and please don't forget to thank the amazing community behind this event. So as we've talked about, the world has changed dramatically with COVID. In some ways, we can't wait to go back to in-person education, to seeing each other socially and in the workplace. But in a lot of ways, we've seen the world's never going to be the same again, that we've had an acceleration of anywhere access to content, to communications, to collaboration, to applications on any device. And we've seen the places where that helps people be more productive and efficient. And of course, seen the places where we'd love to see each other in person again. And so we're headed back to eventually, it's still a ways off, the hybrid workplace, where people will get to see customers and partners and colleagues in person again. But whether it's healthcare or education or government or small business, we've seen the power of remote work that's here to stay. And many of you know we've been espousing the benefits of cloud services for many years. In fact, this year will mark the 10th anniversary of the launch of Office 365. But last year was the year it really became mainstream. The idea that having elastic cloud services, providing continuing evolving services with the best security and compliance has been accepted by pretty much every organization around the world. And a key part of that is obviously our investment in regional data centers and new certifications. So we continue to very much learn from all of you, whether it's your security feedback, your end user feedback, things we need to do in the development platform. And we feel very privileged at what is a challenging time to be part of enabling people to cope with this change. I do want to take a second and make sure we don't take all this for granted. When COVID started to accelerate and companies and schools started to lock down in early March of last year, we saw dramatic growth in our services. And in theory, you write the software to be elastic, to scale out. And we certainly test that and exercise that as we've grown Office 365. But we would not have been able to do what we did this past 12 months without the bet that all of you had made with us in the past 10, 15 years to get us to this point. It took investments of billions of dollars in data centers and thousands of engineers over multiple releases to scale the Azure platform, the Microsoft 365 services, our guidance. All those things evolved over the last decade because of your commitment to us. So just to hit some of the milestones, 2008, Bill Gates at the SharePoint conference announced the availability of Microsoft Online Services for everybody. We didn't yet call it the cloud, A lot of people thought we were crazy and didn't understand it. They talked about it as hosting and things like that. But we really did believe the economies of scale and expertise of us hosting the services would let us deliver more value at lower price to more people around the planet. We grew that offering, and when it was time to graduate to a mature service, we announced in June of 2011 as Office 365. And a key part of that was including SharePoint and Exchange, and of course, connected to the Office applications. For the next 5 years, we continue to make progress and grow. And in 2016, May 4th, Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you, we had the Future of SharePoint event, where we explained we were dramatically increasing the investment in SharePoint to power experiences across Office 365 and what's become Microsoft 365. And as I said, immediately after that event, I took a trip to Paris, France, and talked about the things that we were doing at SharePoint Saturday. So the connection to the community in France has a special place in my heart because that was a key inflection point for us. The next year, we had foreshadowed at that event what was coming, but we didn't announce it yet because it was not ready. But the next year in 2017, we have released Microsoft Teams. And Microsoft Teams brought together a set of capabilities that we had previously in a variety of different products into a single hub for teamwork. People live in communication tools, whether it's asynchronous communications like chat or synchronous communications like a meeting. And I think we came up with a pretty novel approach to combine those into a single product and to dock in other collaboration tools from Microsoft and the rest of the industry. SharePoint files experiences were a big part of that first release of Microsoft Teams. And at that point, we announced that Office 365 grew to 85 million monthly active users. So we continued to grow. The cloud became much more mainstream in the sort of 2017, 18, 19 period. Again, because of your adoption, your feedback, we continued to improve the service. And last year, our growth rate accelerated with COVID, that people bet on these collaboration tools to work together around the world from anywhere. And a set of organizations that frankly hadn't yet been able to make the case to go to the cloud. It became obvious to many of them, not everybody, but the vast majority of the customer base moved to the cloud at this point. And we saw SharePoint grow to 200 million monthly active users in the cloud. That is about 10 times what we'd done 4 years ago at the Future of SharePoint event. And so many years of investment in SharePoint to allow it to scale to tens of now hundreds of millions of users in the cloud. We have an even higher bar with Teams because it's a communication tool. So there we keep score in daily active users. And a lot of people had seen some of the comparative benchmarks with other chat-based tools. Teams, we had reached 115 million daily active users for Microsoft Teams. So again, thank you for the support and feedback. We celebrate this. I hope you feel a part of it, but we don't take it for granted. We've been successful, and so that's letting us invest in taking our services to the next level. And so that's a good transition to what are we talking about when we talk about Microsoft 365. In this brief talk, I won't go through it all, but people ask me in particular, how do you think about Teams and SharePoint? I used to go to SharePoint sites, I still do, but how's Teams relate? Well, so I wanted to make this really clear and simple so you understand how these things come together as part of one offering in Microsoft 365. Satya starts with defining Microsoft 365 as the world's productivity cloud for organizations of all sizes and types, not-for-profits, small businesses, charities, schools, hospitals, financial services, education. We want to provide the most secure, the most trusted capabilities so that you can deploy to users the tools they need to do to get work done, and have that be extendable as a platform so that you can integrate it with your system, you can tailor it to your business processes. Running a classroom is different than running a hospital, and so you want to tailor Microsoft 365 for that. And so as the foundation of Microsoft 365, we have the core collaboration experiences and platform for customization. And so there we're bringing together the communications assets of Microsoft Teams for chat, calls, meetings, etc., with the content management capabilities of SharePoint, files, pages, lists, and so forth. And you'll see in a few slides sort of how we think about those in a very complementary way. Again, the investment you made in us is allowing us to invest more in our services for you. And so we had a virtual Ignite event. This is our big Microsoft conference every year. We're actually going to 2 a year. We had one in September where we announced, really, I think in my career, the biggest set of news, both shipping and roadmap ever for Teams, SharePoint, Office, OneDrive, Yammer, Stream, Power Apps, and much, much more. And we've got another Ignite coming up in March. And so some of the things were announced at the last one are going to be a lot closer to being broadly available. And we're going to announce some new things that I'm not ready to share today. But hopefully you'll see from the last Ignite, we have a big investment in delivering more value to you. So Teams and SharePoint, let's talk about each of them. Microsoft Teams, of course, is chat, calls, meetings integrated together in a way we think is pretty unique. There's a lot of great choices in the industry. I think one of the reasons Teams has resonated is because it's brought these capabilities together into a single hub for teamwork, and that lets you bring in other applications. It could be in a team as a tab. It could be extending meetings or chats with bots. And you will see more and more flexibility in the Teams platform. So again, whether it's a classroom or a nurse's discussion with a patient or a design brainstorming session, we want to make sure that you have the files, the lists, the chats, the calls, and all the tools you need in an integrated way in one place. So that's where we talk about Teams as the hub for teamwork. That sort of transcends what you could do in the base operating system or the browser. It is kind of the new shell for work. And we had a big set of announcements at Ignite for Teams. Hopefully all of you are familiar with Together Mode, where we let you take the video streams of people and put you in one virtual space so you feel like you're more a team and can pick up social cues, you can smile and celebrate together. And we found this really helps people not only process video calls more easily, but also just feel more a part of their work group. And so we're building on that with more and more scenes. We did a holiday scene a few weeks ago that people really had fun with, where you could be outside in a snow scene together. We're going to do custom layouts. The video that's playing on this slide is showing how we're going to overlay presenters and content in ways that are much more polished and engaging, and you'll see a lot more of that coming. Breakout rooms. Very end of the year, we made breakout rooms generally available. People are really excited about that. We're doing a set of features to help meeting effectiveness, how you plan agendas, take notes, assign action items. And we were just talking about this yesterday in the OneDrive and SharePoint team. Actually not have to attend every meeting you're invited to. Maybe you should skip some and just go see the recap. It's okay. We've got to make it socially okay to not attend every single meeting. Webinars, we haven't released this yet, but we're working on a set of new capabilities for webinars. People are using Teams, obviously, in these sort of public sessions like this event. The National Basketball Association in the United States, during the lockdown period, had its virtual fans powered by Teams, but a lot's coming in webinars. Meeting room devices of all sizes and types, we announced a set of those. A brand new calling experience for making phone calls. The ability to tailor Teams with templates for different types of workflows, a much improved search experience for Microsoft Teams, so you can find people in chats and files much more easily. A ton of integration with Power Platform. This is a huge focus for us across Microsoft 365 with the Power Apps team, where you'll be able to build these applications. They could work on the Dataverse data technology or SharePoint files and lists, or any business applications, tons of connectors, and those can all be hosted in Microsoft Teams. Meetings extensions. So again, whether you're want to integrate with a learning management solution as part of a classroom, or a medical record system as part of a patient consultation, integrating that with Teams. So a bunch of announcements. Some of them we've shipped, some of them we're still working on, and there is a lot more in the pipeline. Now let's talk about SharePoint. People have thought about going to their SharePoint site to getting work done, and typically did that in the browser before. Now we see more and more people accessing SharePoint capabilities, features, new experiences inside Teams. It of course won't be only Teams. That's not the only place you want to get content. And so the way to think about SharePoint is it's the industry's most innovative and flexible content management system that powers these intelligent experiences for SharePoint standalone in the browser or in the SharePoint mobile app, but also a host of other apps. OneDrive is powered by SharePoint. Office collaboration is powered by SharePoint. We made some video announcements at Ignite that I'll talk about in a second. Knowledge, we've talked about something called Project Cortex, I'll talk about in a second. All these new user experiences are created in SharePoint. So SharePoint's not just a back end. It's powering all sorts of new applications, some of which you'll get to the SharePoint UI in the browser or in Teams, and others SharePoint is sort of in the context of some other app, like Microsoft Lists or like Stream, which we'll talk about. So SharePoint is powering experiences across Microsoft 365, a whole variety of them, including great SharePoint sites, but also, of course, more and more of those inside Teams and not just the web browser. So let me talk about just a few of the SharePoint announcements we made. Just a bunch of stuff for files. SharePoint powers our files experience. You can get to those files for your team in Microsoft Teams, of course. But the simple streamlined hero app for just files is OneDrive. You can get to your OneDrive and your files, but also OneDrive can browse all the content that exists on SharePoint sites and those Microsoft Teams and so forth. And we did just a ton of features for OneDrive. One of my favorites is called Add to OneDrive. So you can go to SharePoint or Teams or some shared OneDrive that somebody shared a folder for you from the project from their OneDrive and hit Add to OneDrive. And from then on, a shortcut to that location, that team, that other person's OneDrive, that SharePoint site, is in the namespace of your OneDrive. And you can always browse it there on OneDrive on iOS, on Android, on Windows, on the Mac and web. And so it's really convenient. Like, you know, the project reviews we do in OneDrive and SharePoint, in Teams, the executive reviews I'm part of, I've added all those to my OneDrive. And then I can just, again, whether it's in the browser, the Windows Explorer, Mac, or, you know, a mobile app, I can just go, you know, through one tree and see all those files. So huge breakthrough feature that is really exciting. Microsoft Lists, if you haven't seen it, gorgeous new user experience for SharePoint List. Really dramatically, you know, we put dozens of people on this new experience. We're really quite proud of it. All your SharePoint lists get better. Those lists can show up in Microsoft Teams as well in the context of a team. But we also, like OneDrive, make them available standalone in Microsoft Lists. Because sometimes people say, hey, you know, I don't want to create a site with a list or a team with a list. I just want to make a list. I just want to make a list of top customers or top issues or, you know, top products I'm tracking or decisions we're making and so forth, and just share that around like I'd share around a file in OneDrive. And in fact, under the covers, if you've been a fan of SharePoint for a long time, this is actually the SharePoint site that we create for each user. It's just users see it as a OneDrive or their personal Microsoft list. Nobody needs to know that except the gurus who've been with us a long time, but it does show the flexibility of SharePoint empowering these new experiences. So we're really excited about Microsoft Lists, that new user experience, and it's going to give you lists in SharePoint, in Teams, and standalone, just like our file strategy is in SharePoint, in Teams, and standalone. And so different people work different ways. You get to pick how you want to work. We announced what is a big step, but we have much more coming, which is creating an out-of-the-box intranet, if you will, to start. Obviously, people customize it and extend it, and partners add solutions, called the SharePoint home site. And that exists as a first-class app in Teams. So the navigation that you see for your sites, top corporate resources, etc., we're making that available in the browser. We don't think the web and web browsing is going to go away and Teams is going to be the browser for everything. But we think Teams is going to be increasingly important, and why not let companies put the top level of their communications for the company in Teams? And so you're going to see in the next few months a lot more here from us in helping companies bring together SharePoint, Yammer, Stream, in and out of box solution on the web, on the phone, and in Teams. And so take a look at what we announced, but much more is coming. Tons of new publishing features for news and scheduling, lots of great feedback, fit and finish for user experience to professional, intranet manager kinds of features, analytics and so forth, lots of great stuff there. We also talked about the GA of half of Project Cortex. So Cortex is the project we have where we're bringing artificial intelligence from across Microsoft on top of SharePoint content and other types of M365 data in the Microsoft Graph to help organize that content both for business processes and knowledge management. So it's content plus AI helping you for knowledge management and business process. We made available the first part of that, the business process part, and we called that feature SharePoint Syntax. So you can use machine learning and machine teaching to build models for certain types of content, maybe contracts or RFPs where you want to infer metadata, create workflows on that, and lots of really powerful capabilities along the way that enabled us to really enhance the metadata management, taxonomy management experience in SharePoint. People asked us for that for a long time. So we made Syntax GA, and then the other half of Project Cortex, this knowledge or topics part, where you can use AI to help generate an enterprise wiki based on SharePoint and then see those wiki topics in the context of UI across your user experiences. That's in preview, and we'll be very soon talking about the next steps for that. I think you'll be pleased and also in a few places surprised at how we're bringing expertise, people, conversations, content, videos together in a way to make knowledge sharing even easier. Video. Lots of people have asked this question in a few different ways. They said, when can I have external sharing on Stream? Or when can I have the security and compliance features that we have in Exchange or SharePoint on videos, including recordings? So over the last year, we've been working hard as part of the new underlying SharePoint architecture to have dramatically higher scalability, performance, flexibility for lots of different data types, including video. And so what we did is announce at Ignite that Teams meeting recordings and Stream published videos would be hosted on SharePoint. So if you scheduled a meeting in Teams and you hit record, now what will happen, if that's the policies IT is allowed, that recording will be available to you in a folder in your OneDrive and subject to all the security and compliance and sharing power, simplicity, capabilities that you want. So you miss a meeting and you want to go check it out, share that video around. Similarly, Stream for external sharing, policy, controls, power apps, etc., and on and on and on will be the Teams meeting recordings are rolling out now. Stream on SharePoint will be rolling out soon. But again, this idea that we're bringing rich collaboration, workflow, compliance across all data types powered by SharePoint into multiple experiences, that was a big milestone. SharePoint framework. Number one question we always get on SharePoint is it an app or is it a platform? It's both. The way we let you extend the app safely is the SharePoint framework. We're using the SharePoint framework to now let you build Microsoft Teams apps. Lots of security and compliance capabilities, more than I have time to go through. Sensitivity labels, so if you have a set of policies you want to assign to confidential documents, you can say, this is the confidential label, I want to apply it to these groups, and Teams and SharePoint respect that. Information barriers, if you want your brokers to not talk to your investment bankers and not even see they exist, SharePoint teams, etc. respect that. So the SharePoint team is bigger than ever, growing faster than ever, investing more than ever. And again, 200 million monthly active users is a great milestone for us. So thank you again. We're excited for a big 2021 together. We've got a lot coming across SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams. Please again thank the organizers for the event. We couldn't be more proud to get to work with all of you and have a great modern workplace conference, Paris. Thank you.
So that's a lot of great news and great features coming from the Redmond cooking space. Thank you, Jeff Teper. And during the keynote, I found some cool picture from our last SharePoint Saturday when you came in Paris. So it was a great time, and you probably can recognize some of speakers, like some of them are still around at Modern Workplace this year. So that was definitely great memories, and we will try in the future to make this possible again. So thank you again for Microsoft to being a sponsor from this event, and to everybody who participates to this event today, and be aware that you can still participate tomorrow. There are still a great day of event with many sessions, and another keynote tomorrow morning by Debbie Ireland, direct live from New Zealand, and she will share with us some myths about work-life balance. So we are looking forward to it, and see you in the apéro in the teams of the event in a few minutes. Bye bye. Thank you very much.